We're getting down to the last two sections of our chapter before we take this test. Again, tomorrow you will be taking the map test in this class. 2.9 is about percent. Today is going to introduce us to percents. It's a very short lesson, but it is important to your understanding of how to work out different types. Actually, the next two sections deal with percent, so make sure you understand at least how they work. Otherwise, you'll probably have issues with it. So essential question, what is a percentage? How does it fit into what we've learned already? The word percent really means directly per hundred. The word per being right there and cent being short for century, it would be 100. So anytime you're saying some 43%, it means 43 out of 100. 9% means 9 out of 100. When you get a grade of 43% out of 100, it's pretty much anticipating that if you took a 100-point quiz or questions, if you answered 100 questions on that section, you'd get about 43 right. If you are a 9% free throw shooter or scorer, that means out of 100 attempts you're going to score 9 times. So in terms of what we're seeing, there are two ways to work out percent problems. Again, make sure you pay attention to each one because both of them can pop up at any time and you never know which one you might need to use. The first type deals with parts of a whole. You'll be given a percentage of a population and be asked to figure out the missing portion. When doing this, set it up as follows. The part goes on top, the whole goes on the bottom. Alright, so the part over the whole. To solve this type, simply set the percentage equivalent to whatever information you have and go from there. Alright, so in this problem, which I believe might be on the back, I'm not sure. It says there are 24 males in the class. If 80% of the class is male, how many students are in the class? So, first thing I would do is, for me, I would say 80% of the class, which as we know is 80 over 100. 24 males in the class, that is not the whole thing. Like, the part of the class is male. The whole class is represented by the word class, which means that 24 is the portion of the class, whereas we don't know how many people are actually in the class. This proportion, based off of what we did yesterday, now allows us to do 80x. You don't need to, on these, you don't need to do the 80 meets x, 100 meets 24, because I think you're probably good enough to do 80x equals 2400. We then divide by 80, getting x equals 30. Sorry. I tried to do it in my head. There we go. But x would be 30, and that would be how many people are in the class. Alright, so again, 24 males in the class, understanding that 24 males represents a portion because the whole thing would be called class because we want to know how much is in the class. 80% turned into 80 over 100. We solve the proportion. The problem is over. There are 25 students in the class. If 60% of the class is female, how many females are in the class? Here we go. 25 students in the class. Again, once I see 60%, chances are I'm going to use some sort of 60 over 100 in this type. 25 students, though, represents the whole class, which means that 25 should go down here. From there, we don't know this, and so from there we do our 60 times 25. You're probably going to need a calculator for this section anyway because of the percents that we're going to do, so feel free to use that. 1500 equals 100x. Again, 60 times 25, 100 times x. Dividing by 100, we find out that 15 is our number of females, and so there we go. Alright. Second type of percentage problem is worked out best by translating, keeping in mind some things that we learned. I think I taught you that of means times. We learned that is means equals. We now have to understand this part, which is new to us, which is that what means x. So whenever they say what number or what value or what percent, whatever, means typically that's going to be an x. And as long as you can set that up and keep that in mind, I think the next set of problems is going to be pretty easy for you. So when it says what percent of 80 is 12, first off it says what percent, so it's the x. Of means multiply x by 80. Is means turn into equals, 12 goes over here. It is a direct translation. This is x times 80, which means that we need to divide by 80 to get our number the way we want it. Of course, our 80s go away. I'm sorry, bringing down x. And then we do 12 divided by 80, which is 0.15. Now, the trick about this problem when it says what percent is that 0.15 is not the percent, but we adjust it back into a percent by moving the decimal. And your answer is 15%. So you probably want to put a star by this one because this is the one that tricks people the most, because what percent means I actually have to convert my answer back into a percent to get the proper result. The second one, again, every word translates. It's almost like everything can be recycled. What turns into X, is turns into equals. 35% we must write as 0.35 of, it means multiply, 20. Notice here, X is already by itself. All we have to do is 0.35 times 20, which is 7. And that's all. Once again, everything translates. 45 is 20%, 0.20 of, which means multiply what number, which means X. In this case, 0.20 is attached to X through multiplication, so we have to divide by 0.20. 45 divided by 0.20 is 9. And there is your answer. So again, key thing is we have two ways to do this. You have the one where they have the direct word translation, and the other one where they give you parts and wholes. And so therefore you must make sure you understand how to set both of those up, because you never know which one is going to be used. This problem can be tricky depending on how well you work to remember each type. With a test coming up soon, again, it's important you're efficient, so you're already when it pops up in a few days. So again, go ahead and go to your Math XL, answer the question at the end of the video. Go to your Math XL, and like I said, make sure you're asking questions to get ready for that part where you actually get graded for that stuff. So keep asking questions. Let's knock this out. Good luck.